Hello, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good at least. Okay, just let's just wait a little bit for the chat if they say something and then we can start. Okay, they can. Yes, it works. Sorry,
Yay!
it was the first time I do an event on YouTube and I wasn't sure how to do that and I had to get into the control panel and just like start streaming. So, okay. First of all,
Is
hello
it loud
guys
enough?
and welcome to the Fantroll design with Dagmar, Poinko and Gilly. Uh, the first half an hour will be talking about our process. Okay, my volume is a little bit low, so I'm just gonna uh, try to get it a little bit higher if I can't. Okay, I can't apparently, so I'm just going to. I guess you. Well,
Can,
anyways,
can they hear all of us
yeah,
fine? Or?
it's a little bit quiet. They say. Just gonna see if I can fix it. Because apparently I can't raise more the volume in this, unfortunately.
Maybe I have my.
No, I think,
Uh,
oh no, it's my microphone, which is like very, 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 yeah. Is this better? I just like put it like closer. I have it always like very far from my mouth. Uh, okay,
maybe
yeah,
my
that's better.
mic.
So the first half an hour will be our talking about our process for character design, and the second half an hour will have a Q and answer. So you guys will be able to ask questions about Fantroll design, and the and we will answer them. Okay, so let's start with introductions. Do you guys go first?
Sure. My name is Philip, better known as Poinko. I've been in the Homestuck fandom for about 7 years. Worked with What Pumpkin for about 5 of them. I've done work on Paradox Space, Collide, and Hive Swap, and I've done a lot of troll design for Hive Swap. You may have seen some of the guys I've worked on.
Okay. Hello. I'm Dagmar. Dagmar. Whatever. I'm a. I'm a freelance artist. I've done some work on Hive Swap Act 2 and generally been in and around the Homestuck fandom since 2012. I mostly just do fan art right now.
Uh, okay, I guess I'll go next. Hi, I'm Gilly. I've been working on HiSwap since 2018, end of 2018, I think. Uh, and I've been active in the Homestuck community since 2016 or something. And I mostly enjoy doing animation and comics and also character design. Okay, so I guess we can start on the presentation, and I think Boinko goes first.
Okay, yeah, I think I can do that. All right. Well, let's get the first slide pulled up, I guess. Da, 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 da. I think there's still like a delay on the video. There we go. Okay. So, um, the first thing that I'm going to talk about in regards to character design uh, is my process. Now, my process, I have one of two ways that I will come up with a character design. The first one, the easiest one, is a character will just pop into my head fully formed, and I won't have to do much work about it. Now, that's my favorite way of doing character design, but it very rarely happens. So, the second way that I take care of my designs is I will come up with a concept or a type of character that I want to work on. Uh, in the example here, Ezekar, the main character of my fan adventure, Food and Blood, um, I wanted her to be kind of a uh, innocent type of troll. So I wanted to give her kind of like a gentle expression, uh, bunch of kind of rounded rounded parts to her design, so she looks kind of soft, I guess. Um, but yeah, she didn't come out fully formed. I had to do a lot of exploratory sketching on her, as you can see over here on the right. Um, her hair, her horns, just about everything on her, I had to sketch out over and over again until I was able to get something that I was really happy with. Um, and for fan trolls in general, one of the most important things that you have to work on is their sign, of course. So, generally for side characters and secondary characters, I'll just y- go to the extended zodiac and pull something from there because, well, I am lazy, and also it's it's easier to take that symbol and kind of build off of it. But for like main characters and characters who have a specific relevance into the story or something that I want to do, I'll work on a design for their symbol. And as the car symbol, I worked on almost as much as I did on her design. So it's really just something that you have to work on. You can't just do one thing and think, okay, this is done, this is great. We'll just go with this because you won't be satisfied with it. So for the next slide, um, which will show up in a bit, but the next slide is going to be Catter, who is Ezekar's best friend. You'll be able to see that I did a lot. I had to do a lot more exploratory design on him than I had to do with Ezekar. Uh, you'll see on the left is like the original design I had for him, and I thought it was okay at the time, but the design didn't really click with me. So I had to do a lot more design on him. Uh, but you'll see I still kept the core idea of Catter, which is he likes dressing up as Lucis and hunting down Lucises. I'm not sure, but I kept the same idea and just iterated it on it a whole lot. And don't be afraid to do something like that. If you have a character that you're working on and something with the design isn't working right, don't be afraid to get rid of it and try something else. That's kind of the whole process of how you design a character. And when I say get rid of the design, I don't mean like just trash it completely. You might want to keep that character around. Maybe you can build it into something else. Uh, it really depends on what you need. Uh, but yeah, so for the next slide, uh, I'm going to build off of that a little bit. In addition to iterating on your character, if you're building off of a core idea, you might want to uh, research that idea. Like, for example, if I have a character like the character in this next slide is a who is a cerulean, I want to kind of pull his design around the whole Scorpio thing that the Cerulean cast is known for. Uh, in in comparison, for like his horns, I don't want to just do the claw and stinger thing that we've normally seen with characters like Vriska. But I wanted to do like the pincer thing, so I went and looked at a bunch of like different scorpions and see what they have. So I wanted to, just base his horns off of just the pincers. And it's like a really specific type of pincer too, because you have like different scorpions with different claws and all of that. But don't be afraid to just go in and pull out as much reference material as you can. Like if you have a character who's interested in building computers, you know, go in and research what people who build computers do, because then you'll have a better understanding of what that character can do, and also you may find some stuff that you may want to incorporate into that character and that design. Now, going off of horns is the example for the next slide. Um, you'll be able to see uh, where I did a little bit of research for the horn designs for the Olive Bastards, which is the gang that harasses Ezigar at the beginning of the comic. Uh, since they're all part of the Olive cast, and they're all based off of cats, so I wanted to look at a bunch of different cats and take those ear designs and use them as horns. And you can see the different types of ear designs kind of reflect what their personalities are like. Um, and that's really a good idea for horns who are based off of specific things. Now, if you have something that has kind of more esoteric designs like gold bloods or indigo bloods, that may be a little bit harder to figure out, but you can just play around with it, and there's no really any hard and fast rules as far as horn design goes. So, just play around, find something that you like, something that looks good, Um, I think somebody in the chat earlier had mentioned if you're not sure what to do with your horns, just break one of them off. Great, that's a great idea. I like doing that a lot. Okay, and for my next slide, in addition to the horns, you want to make sure that your character has a really strong silhouette. And one of the best things about fan trolls and Homestuck fan characters is that they have a very distinct style to like their hair and their horns, which means that you can kind of more easily build out a silhouette of the character and make it readable. Um, but that's something that you want to work with. Like when you get a design down, just color it out black and uh, see what the silhouette looks like. If you can tell what the character is doing and like which way they're facing or what their expression might be just by the silhouette, then you've got a pretty good thing going on. So practice on that. Make sure that your silhouette works and is distinct by your character. So it just helps make it more clear and more recognizable, even if they're like, off in the distance or obscured by something else. So that's probably one of the easiest ways to check and make sure that you've got a good character design going on. Uh, and now I think maybe I've taken up too much of my time, so I will go ahead and give the floor over to our next panelist here.
Yeah, the next one is Dax.
Okay. Yeah, get my first slide up, I suppose. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. So what I like to do a lot, like I don't always make characters like this, but I do it a lot because I think it's fun and yeah, it's just a good exercise in it. What I like to do a lot is take one little thing, just like one trait I want him to have, and then build the whole character and personality around that thing. Um, I call it designing around a focal point, but it's probably just me being bad at planning. Um, anyways, so the thing I took here was a bloody handprint. And like, where do you want that thing to be? And I wanted it to be across the face. But then you're like at an impasse. What kind of character would be happy to do this? And I was like, a bastard. Just a big old bastard. Okay, next. um shoot. Sorry. And and you know, like what kind of bastard, you know, like fuck. Shoot. Like I knew I wanted her to be a bastard. Shit. Yeah. No. Okay. I'm sorry. Just give me a sec. Okay. So I was starting to think shapes, and I knew what kind of feelings I wanted to invoke when you looked at her, and so I kind of went to like this pop culture standard of like a reaper with a hood and a scythe. Because like you see that shape, and then you instantly know, oh, she's like a reaper type thing. But I was like, you know, because I'm also a bastard, I wanted to make her a clown. Because I feel like the Homestuck clown's a really volatile thing. You can just really do whatever and no one questions you. It's pretty great. So I was like, you know, how can I spice up the silhouette? Because, you know, a plain cloak's good, but it's also kind of boring. So it's like, what if I make her skirt a circus tent? And then I also did a cheap trick and just made it an arrow that points back up to the face and the hand. And, you know, now she's a purple. What else can you kind of infer from that choice of character Fantroll thing? You know? Like, clowns are kind of show offs. They're bombastic. They're show people, right? So she's a show off. She's probably kind of rich. So might as well put some bling or gold accents in there. Color wise, I just liked red because of like this fanon thing going around that, like, you know, bold red's kind of a goth thing. I just think that's fun. um, and you know, another clown thing is I was like, why not just make the back of her scythe just like a spike club? I think that's fun. And you know, gap teeth because that's just like some visual interest in the face. That's already kind of busy because of the hand. Yeah. Like I was thinking really hard about shapes here. I wanted the hood and I wanted a fun skirt. So hard shapes, I like those. Next slide. Okay. And yeah, and honestly, I just forgot to give her a horn set first. So what I usually do, because I always forget about the horns, is I always try to make him like disturb the shape the least possible. Because I had like the swoop thing going with the hair, and I really like that. So I just, you know, try to not disturb it too much. I could really do better with the horns. I need to remember them more. So what I ended up with was this kind of like witchy looking thing. And I kind of liked that, so I leaned into it a little harder with these like buckled boots, which I feel like in a lot of pop culture imagery of witches, you also find there, keeping with the triangle shapes to tie them into the skirt, and also more arrows pointing upwards to the face and the hand. Yeah, she's basically just a bunch of arrows leading back up to the face. But I ended up being generally really happy with this like general shape, because like even if you black her out, you can always see that she has the thighs, and depending on how I draw her, the hood, and you can kind of just infer a lot from her character just from that general shape, that she is in fact a bastard. I am all over the place. I am sorry. But yeah, it's back to what Poinko said about silhouette. I usually try to go really hard in on it. Actually, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, like gimmicks and themes. I like to go really, really hard on them. Like, to me, if you can like not only point a character out from a lineup, but like tell what she's based, what he, she, they are based on, just from the silhouette alone, I feel like that's a really strong character to me, because like you can tell what they're about without even really seeing them, and I enjoy that. So I really went. So maybe you get like a little bit of a one-note looking character, but to me, if they're like striking and they're fun and you remember them, that's still like good character design to me, and like depth and all that can come when you write them. Jarhead over here is just out here because I think he's funny, really. But yeah, I think that was all I had to say. Was that, yeah, silhouette really important.
Okay, so I guess now it's my turn. So I mostly do like what Poinko does, like I just imagine a character and just draw them like from my mind, but that's not very, 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 I wouldn't, it's not something I would suggest. So something I do too, it's like use mood boards like for everything, for inspiration, for reference, for palettes. I mostly do it for fashion because I suck a lot at giving a character clothes. I think that it's something very common among other artists. Like, yeah, I just wanna draw the face, and then what clothes do I do I put, and also I added some alchemical symbols because I'm also too lazy to imagine my own signs. Um, yeah, I didn't wanna think a lot about this. I literally did this week for the for the panel, and these are the characters that I got from this. Um, I since like the mood board was like mostly high fashion, I just wanted to get like some high bloods like with like very weird clothing stuff, and I also had like some witchy uh, slash thrift store fashion, so I gave that to some more like friendly looky jade bloods. So yeah, you can use like mood boards for basically anything, and it's something I would really, really recommend doing that. And also something also it's very important to like think with silhouettes. Basically, every single character in Homestuck and Highswap has a very distinguished silhouette, and it's something that even it looks very weird, it's something that you should emphasize it, even if you have like a lot of, mostly if you have a lot of characters, or a story where you have a lot of characters and you need to distinguish them. Just like turn the silhouette black and maybe try to paint over it a little bit to give it more like more of a difference, and then just like you can work over this. The next thing that I think it's important is the character acting. This one is a character from Dagmar. I borrow it. So basically, the main pose and expression that it has, like the base pose and expression, it's going to influence the characters, the rest of the poses and expressions. So you have a character that's slouchy and is kind of looking like meh. Just by simply changing the pose or the action, that the impression of the character is going to change as well. So that's something very important to keep in mind. And another example, it's this. This is one of the Jade characters that I designed. Like, she looks very happy and giggly. She has like kind of a motherly vibe. So she has like still like that kind of awkward smile when you see her, and even of the expressions on the poses. But you can also break that rule for the base for the default pose and expression. So if you see on the right, like that doesn't look like an expression that she will do at all. So like you can use that. You can just basically break the rule and use that to your advantage. If you have a story of a panel that has like a very intense moment, you can use that to your advantage. So that chill character that you have, or that cool character that you have, uh, it's completely broken. And even if you add a different color palette, a more like impressive palette, like the mood that panel will show, or the mood that comic will show, is going to be completely more different and more impacting on the reader, on the audience. So that's very important. So in conclusion, first experiment. You can just check other artists. You can like, I want to do this, and just do it. Break the rules. Rules are for learning, but also for breaking. What we're like telling you here is like maybe our method of approaching character design. But these rules, like, you don't have to use them, all of them. You can just either adapt them, you can break them, you learn them, and then you apply them if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Third, visual library. It's very important. Every book you read, every game you play, every art book that you buy, every series that you watch, that's a visual library. And that's why mood boards are important, and that's why like researching for yourself, if you see like an artist that you like, just like, I don't know, like save their work and just look through it for inspiration. Maybe do some studies of that artist. Also practice. No one is born learning, and maybe some people has more advantage, but that doesn't mean that you can get to that level. So practice, keep drawing, do a lot of studies. It's important. Another rule that I have, it's the next one, is to keep it simple, as in colors and for details. I like using simple forms and simple characters, and the colors maybe just had a little accent or like of a complementary color of the palette that I choose. So maybe I have a palette with warms and the accent color is a teal or is a blue or even a green. And the most important of all, it's to have fun. I found out that working on a project or doing practice, if you enjoy it, you are going to learn more and you're going to dedicate yourself more on that character. Um, uh, on that character, on that story. If it's something you enjoy, you are going to give more dedication, and it's going to be way more fun, and you are going to want to research more. So that's all for me. That's all I have to say when it comes to character design, because next we have the questions and answers, guys.
Yeah, I can. Hello.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I was a little bit worried because you all were silent. Okay, so now you can guys start asking questions and we will answer them.
Yeah. So, yeah, just start putting those questions in, and
Yeah,
when they start showing up on the chat roll for us,
yeah.
we'll start answering them.
We'll put all the information on the drive so you guys can download it. Anyways, after seeing this, okay. Emily Liu
Oh, that's a
asked,
lot of questions.
yeah, let's start for Emily. What do you think about designing a Fantroll based on class spec plus blood color?
I'm not that well versed in like class specs because I can't read, but I like just doing like clowns and sea dwellers specifically because you can get really ham-fisted with like clown things and sea stuff.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm going to design a character, then generally it's going to be for a specific blood caste. But like Dag said, I'm not too versed in how class specting affects the character. Like I haven't class spected any of my characters, for instance. But yeah, generally any troll that I come up with is going to be geared for a specific cast when I come up with it.
Oh, I just kinda do whatever I want. So that's like very specific question. The next one is by Kika Kores. How did you choose a Strife Specibus? I think that depends on like the character I give the troll. If she's like more modernly, like the Jade I did, maybe I would like get maybe her something like you could find in her hive, basically. If it's someone like maybe more violent, maybe a club or something like that. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think like weapons and such is more like personality specific than design driven, unless they are always gonna be holding that weapon, like my example character.
Yeah, like class specting, I don't really have like a specibus in mind for a character, but I do always like to have some sort of identifiable item with them. Like for Esakar, it would be a spatula. You know, a Strife doesn't really have to be an actual weapon. It can just be an item that they can use as a weapon. That's how I think about it.
Okay, the next question is by Gami. How did you come up with names for fan trolls? I just kinda bullshit them. I'm not going to lie.
I just take two Danish words and no one ever knows. One of my fan trolls is literally just named Thunder Lightning, and only 3 people have ever called me out on this.
I usually go for like something really stupid, like Esakar's name is basically escargot.
Nice.
You know, or sometimes like when I'm doing research for a character, I'll come up with like a term or a set of words that I think, okay, can I corrupt this word or phrase into something that fits the troll naming scheme.
Okay, so the next questions are by Beta A and Riley T. I'm just gonna ask both of them at the same time because I think both of them are like quite relatable. One of them is how do you pick colors, and the second one is how do you approach making a mood board. In my opinion, making a mood board is basically something that comes from you. Like making a mood board has to be related to what you want to do. So in my from my experience or from what I do, it's like mood boards are related to something that I'm not really good at doing. And for colors, you can either make a mood board or just a lot of people just like go to websites or just like kinda just like pick colors from a pictures and they just start working with it. I personally don't like using big color palettes for a character. I just like to use like smalls, like 4 colors or stuff, and then one for an accent color.
Yeah.
What about you?
Usually how I go about colors, I usually have like a main color and secondary color and an accent color. The main color will more often than not like be white, black, or the blood color of the troll. Secondary color is just like whatever. Usually I will try to like, the orange, yellow, red of the horns. I'll try to like get that in as an accent color somewhere. Because it kind of bothers me you're forced to use them, so I want to get as much mileage out of them as I can, just for like overall coherency. I mean, they're already there, might as well use them. But yeah, usually it's more visually pleasing, just to like the basic eye, if you just stick to like limited colors so it doesn't get too confused.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I have actually never made a mood board in my life.
Oh,
Aw.
same.
so,
I
so
haven't either.
I'm disappointed
yeah.
at you guys.
I mean, if if it helps you, it's great. But I basically just pull reference materials out and dump them in a
Oh
folder,
yeah,
which technically is still kind of like a mood board, I guess.
I've never found a reference for colors.
that's valid.
I
But
just first
yeah.
shadow waltz with sticks. Oh, sorry, I swore.
Oh, that's how you get a mood board.
Okay, the next question is by Len. What websites are good for reference for clothes, poses, and etc.? Okay, so for poses, I don't really have a good website for poses. I just like go to Crocky's Cafe and just like do poses there, like they are like practices. And for clothes, I mostly browse Tumblr or I just like Google high fashion clothes. Uh, Last year, da 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 da, and that's it. Or I just go to a thrift shop and they have a lot of models there with clothes.
Um, and this is gonna make me sound like a bad artist, but I don't look at clothes references either. I just like more often than not, I just like draw a shape and then I act like it's clothes. Yeah, I don't really look at pose references either. I'm bad at artists. I'm sorry. I'm bad at art.
That's all right. That just means you're not constrained by the self-imposed rules that most artists are, and therefore you can be more creative about it.
True, I guess.
Um, if I want to look up something, I'll just go to Google and type it in. I don't really have like one specific go-to. Um, uh, Pinterest is good sometimes, I guess, because people can collect a whole lot of things into one area, but I just don't really like using Pinterest at all. It's not a fun website for me to use. Um, yeah, if I want to look up something specific, I'll just hop on Google and type it in and hit the image search, and you can find a lot of stuff that way, and maybe even find websites that have that reference information available for you. Just by googling it. So
Yeah. Okay. Let's get on it fast because there are a lot of questions. One interesting by official Rufio. For someone making a fan adventure, what's a good way to design a difference between a main characters and side characters?
I just say like keep him, visually striking but simple to draw. Because if they're your main character, you're gonna be drawing them a lot.
Give them blue hair.
Yeah, there you go. Make sure that you know it's the anime protagonist and not.
No,
Yeah.
but in all seriousness, I just like to keep them simple and maybe just instead of making difference between this, I just kind of focus the story a little bit more on the main protagonist than the side characters.
Yeah, I don't think there like has to be a big difference between them, if any at all. It's gonna be your protagonist just by the virtue of the story focusing on them.
Yeah. My opinion though would be keep, like everyone else has said, keep it simple because you're going to be drawing them a lot, and if you weigh them down with a lot of like little details and stuff, then you're gonna eventually get pissed off at them for having so
Yeah,
much stuff on them. So
yeah,
you can keep it simple, but you can also change up their outfit if you want to. If you're drawing the same character for like 100 pages or 100 panels, and at some point their outfit just isn't working for you, just change it. It's your story. You can do what you want.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, next question. There's two that are similar. How long do designs usually take for you guys from you to yellow? And how much does it take to find a satisfying design for your fan trolls? Um, I would say like it depends on the design. I literally just bullshitted all these fan troll designs on a day, but I think it takes longer to find a more satisfying design. Like it could be a week, it could be months, it could be years. Maybe there are like just little details that you keep changing until you get say yeah, this is the one I like.
Yeah, there's not like any set amount of time where a character design is good for. I mean, I've had some characters that I've worked on for the better part of a decade before I was able to get their design down to something that I liked. It depends on the characters, it depends on you, and it depends on how much time you're willing to put into working on their design.
Yeah, like it just depends, really.
Okay. Next question is do you think Homestead's art style can be limited in how dynamic you can make a character? This can go for both sprites and drum panels. No, I don't think so. I think it all relies on the line of action and how you plan a panel as well as for the
Yeah,
composition. It doesn't have to be really limited by an art style.
like honestly, I think it's quite the opposite. In fact, like Homestuck and like Hive Swap, they use like a lot of, like just graphic shapes in general, and I think they can be really easy to work with.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add on that. That's pretty spot on.
Okay, another one is for by Heaven Smilink. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Can using a Lusus species help to give a reason for horn shape? Yeah, I mean horn shapes can be whatever you hate. You want a cola can as a horn. You give them a cola can as a horn.
Yeah. Like as I don't know. Again, I usually just forget about the horns and then stick them on afterwards. But sometimes I try to work it into the shape a little more, like with that snail troll. I wanted it to look like the eye stalks, and I knew I wanted that going in, so
Oh,
I spun him a little more in my favor there. But usually, I honestly totally forget about him.
oh yeah, I totally agree. Okay, I think this one is for you, Dax. Uh, What do you think is the limit that, when crossed, feels too gimmicky when it comes to design?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I just personally really like the aesthetic of super cartoony things. But like perhaps when you can't actually see that character as existing outside of that gimmick at all, which maybe I do fall into a little bit, but I'm not that much of a writer, so my concern is more of them just looking visually interesting. But like, you know, if you look at your character and you're like, ugh, then you might be a little too far into the gimmick.
Okay. Poinko, I think you don't. Well, Poinko and Dax have done more background design than I have. How do you come up with their hype designs, if you do any at all? By Equa, I guess.
I guess it really depends on the troll. Like, for Ezekar, I wanted her to be kind of not necessarily homeless, but like have it obvious that she has it pretty rough. So she lives in like a shipping container outside of a junkyard. Or Catter, who lives like way out in the middle of nowhere. He just has like a little trailer that he lives in. Um, it really depends on the character and what you want to evoke with them that comes up with your hype design.
Okay, then next question by Techno Beagle. Are there any projects that you abandoned and you wish you could continue? Short answer, yes. I'm trying to get back into it, but I just don't. I just didn't really have any time of motivation. But I'm trying to uh, get better at it. And you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I have at least a dozen projects that I've started and just kind of gave up like right after I started. And I think part of that might be uh, that the idea behind them may be a bit too uh, grand, big. I don't know the specific word, but like the scope of the project kind of went way beyond my abilities and my reach, so I just kind of abandoned it. So kind of keep that in mind when you start a project and think about what this thing is going to be like at the end and whether you have like the skill and the fortitude to see it through. But also keep in mind that if you take on a bigger project, then it's use it as a learning experience and not necessarily something that you're going to finish, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like usually these days when I start a project, I go into it with the mindset that I'll probably get bored and I'll probably drop it in like half a month. But
Off.
I guess I do have like an animatic for a short fan venture thing that I thought maybe be neat to finish at some point or another, but right now not really, no. I don't start big stuff usually.
Off. The next one is by Maria Dallas. Do you think it's required to stick to the sort of caste stereotypes we see on Alternia, like for example, Teals caring about justice, Jades working in the brooding caverns, Olives being felons, and etc. Uh, I mean, it's something easy to start with, but you don't really have to. Like, you have seen characters in Hive Swaps that don't really stick to the, or some of them don't really stick with the stereotypes on the cast.
Yeah, like I think I like to take him as more of like soft suggestions as to what you could do. But like in real life, people aren't just stereotypes or whatever, right? Same with the I mean, I guess what you could do was like make it a point in their personality and character that they're not that if you want, but I don't really stick to it very close.
Yeah. Well, again, it's all what you want to do with the character. Um, Making a character that doesn't adhere to the archetypes that are expected of them and their cast is interesting, but also like you take a character like Equius who is adhering to his archetype as much as he can, but he faces a lot of stuff that pulls into question what his archetype is. Exploring something like that also helps to make for a more well-rounded character.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next question by Gogotaku. Do you write a character and a backstory first and make a design around that, or think of a fun design first and then of a backstory? I just think of a fun design first. I'm not that good of a writer, and I just usually go for the visualization part and then just like work around it.
Yeah, me too. Like, more often than not, I just like, again, I don't really have a personality or anything set in mind when I start for the most part. I just kind of make it up as I go. So if I do give him like a backstory, it's usually while I'm drawing them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Again, it really depends on the character. Um, if like I designed Ezekar to be a chef, but like I'm not going to like strap a chef hat on her and keep it on her the whole time. You know, you can build out a character. Now, if it's like a background character and you want to get across that this character does this specific thing, then yeah, you can keep like a chef hat on them because you don't want to take time um, out of your storytelling and your story flow to focus on a character and fill them out. Sometimes you just need to have a character fill a specific role, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time explaining it.
Yeah. Okay, next question is by Nash. Sorry, I missed it before. How do you avoid getting accused of stealing other artists' designs? Uh, oh well, I I think that depends because like there are like so many designs that happen, and it's just a matter of time that a design is going to resemble another one, and there is basically nothing you can do about it. There's going to people that's gonna think it, but you most likely will see, I never seen this other character before. Um, uh, Maybe you just can get to an agreement, or maybe you just don't have to do anything really. I don't really know how to answer this one. Maybe Ponko Dagmars can.
Yeah, well, something like that is definitely going to happen, just based on just the insane number of fan trolls that there are out there.
Yeah.
Um, if you have designed a troll and you come across somebody else's troll who is very similar to yours, uh, maybe don't get in a fight with them about it. you
Yeah.
you can still kind of change your troll to be the same concept, but take a different spin on it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's only like happened to me once, and even then it wasn't really that bad. It was just like vaguely similar, and we sort of just went same hat and went on with our day.
uh,
Yeah.
okay, so last question for now because like we are getting tight on time. Like for from Found Love, how can you guys come choose Lucy for your design? I just try to choose like some sort of animal of great one that kind of fits the character lore.
Yeah. Um, I don't usually get around to giving my characters like Lucai, but when I do, it's like more often than not, I will have accidentally given a character like a vaguely animal shape, and I'm like, oh, okay, that guy has a rooster now because his hair looks like a rooster thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. I haven't designed too many Lucises, uh, but usually the core concept I go with is what if it's an animal but it has something weird
Yeah.
with it. Like for Esicars, I have basically a kangaroo with antlers, and for Catter, I have a parakeet with hands instead of feet. So I think it's that kind of familiar yet alien thing
Yeah. Like
that
there's no limits. You can sort of just do whatever you want, really.
Yeah. Well, I think we are going to wrap this for now because it's literally 7 or 1 p.m. on the other side of the world. Uh, Thank you so much, guys, for coming and see this panel. Thank you a lot for the moderators who I pestered them to help me and moderate this because I wasn't sure how many people will be. Uh, and thank you a lot of you guys for coming. It was very fun to be here, and please enjoy the rest of the con.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, everyone.
Thank you.